Hello, love. Welcome back. Welcome back to our final day together, day 5 of Reset for Radiance. I am so honored to be able to have been with you for the last 5 days, to spend a week with you in your inbox whenever it made sense for you throughout the day, to make time to really settle in and let some of the most important learnings that I have been taught in my life come to you and allow you to integrate them into your life. And so, my hope and my prayer is that something along the way has touched you. I am a firm believer that not everything is meant to be an epiphany or something that you have to, that sticks to you. But if you learn one thing throughout this week that helped you to really start to take ownership in your choices, helped you to feel more in control or the driver's seat of your emotion, to be able to utilize tools throughout the day, whether it be when you're sitting in your car at a red light or chasing your kids or trying to get them to go to bed, right? Just being able to drop back into some of these practices. That is my hope and my wish for you. And today is a really exciting day. I kind of saved some of what I feel like some of the most useful information towards the end. To be able to help wrap it up really beautifully for you. So, day 5, we're really talking about embodiment, right? Embodiment, living as if, bringing in all of the learnings, really implementing them and integrating them into our lives, and living as if we were already where we were hoping to be, right? Remembering that the mind doesn't really acknowledge past or future. The present moment is what we have. And so how can we utilize the present moment for our greatest benefits? So just to kind of recap, thinking about the journey that we've taken together, day 1, we really talked about bringing in the realm of awareness and curiosity, just becoming aware of what it is that's coming up in our system, right? Taking the lens of just being in that space of question, right? Allowing that to drop in. Then we went into acceptance, right? What we've learned in day 1, becoming aware of, simply start to accept, so that what we are learning about ourselves, we can start to open the lens, zoom out to be able to see the full range of what's going on in our mind and our body and our soul, and be able to allow that in, right? The only way through is in acceptance, letting it be as if. And then we started to talk about how can we start to release some of the things that are holding us back, old conditions and patterns. How can we release, reclaim what we know is ours, which allows us to rise into that higher vibration, next level version of who we are. Beautiful. And then the following day, we ended up talking about what is that we're owning as our new truth. What are we starting to move through to be able to come to this ideal or this destiny of what it is that we know that we are capable of, and that is truly our birthright. And as we started to implement that into our system, now into that space of full embodiment, right? Throughout the system, connected to something much higher than ourselves, the universe, right? Allowing that co-creation to take place so that we can truly embody all that we've brought in. And because I know that we are all women here, right? Harnessing the true essential power of being a female on this earth. Unfortunately, for generations, um, the female cycle and system has been deemed as something that is an inconvenience, something that we have to deal with, something that makes us moody or irritable, right? Like we've all either heard these or said them ourselves. And I just want to invite each of you to start to examine how completely intricate and amazing the human female body is. Not only is it built for childbearing, but it's also this majestic system that is different and unique each and every day. So, just to give you an idea of what's going on in our bodies each and every day hormonally, we're going to go through the cyclical patterns of what that looks like. But a female's cycle, hormonal cycle, lasts approximately, everybody's a little bit different, 28 days, meaning every single day of the cycle, the female system, physiology, psychology, hormonal balance is different every single day compared to our male counterparts who their cycle runs on a 24-hour period, meaning they wake up in the morning and they go to bed and then they wake up and they start over the same, right? Though in that 24-hour period, they are essentially the same person being hormonally, intellectually every single day, where we are completely different. And what has happened is society and I think sometimes of our own accord of really trying to, you know, climb the ladder or make sure that as females we are having a seat at the table, which we are, right? This is happening each and every day before our eyes. Yes, that is so important, but then also being able to honor that each and every day we can't show up the exact same way that, say, a male counterpart would. And letting this not be an inconvenience or a downfall, but really harnessing the power of what that means, knowing where we are in our cycle, being able to utilize the moments that we're at for our greatest good. And we're going to talk about that more because I think it's really, really important as we step into so much power in the world, right? As business owners, as leaders, to be able to harness the power of our cycle so that we don't feel overwhelmed, completely at wit's end of feeling like we're trying to keep up when our system is asking us to slow down, right? So knowing where we're at, really utilizing the cyclical pattern of our system to be able to step into that, right? To be able to step into the greatness that is available for us. So I'm really excited to share this with you. When I learned about this, I remember my mind kind of, went, whoa, wait, what a minute, wait a minute. How did I not learn this in elementary or middle or high school? Like, how is this not something that that we're learning and teaching our young women? And so use this resource for you. I've attached a resource that I've created that's sort of a quick reference. Share that with the teenagers in your life, share that with the young women in your life. To be able to harness that is really powerful. And there's also a deep connection to the moon. I like to call her Mother Moon. Our bodies, like we talked about before, are 60 to 70% water. If you think the rise and the fall of the tide and how the moon so greatly affects that, or you can think about how so many women go into labor on a full moon, right? The energetic pull of that is very much correlated with our system, right? And so I like to think of Mother Earth, Mother Being, that female essence, really honoring that. And really knowing that sometimes the days that when we feel different every day of the month, it's because we are different every day of the month. That is not a bad thing. This is something that we can actually really, really harness. So owning that and really tapping into the cyclical patterns of that so that they can be utilized for our greater good. So I like to think that our systems are consistently inconsistent, but this gives us freedom to show up really delightfully different each and every day, right? Just showing up as we are. And I want you to think about how that can really be harnessed into your system. So again, I've got a reference for you to be able to go back to, but we're going to start to talk about the systems here. So if you think about, we're going to start with the menstrual system, right? The menstruation period where we are correlated with the season winter. And I really love to be able to correlate the two. That helped my mind really connect like where my body was in that moment. That's also correlated with the new moon. So you can think about the dark moon, when the moon is at its darkest point, right? When we look into the sky and it's really dark. And I want you to think about two of those being correlated. I want to mention that even if your body is not on the moon cycle that I'm speaking of, that's totally fine, right? But I just want you to start to think about how that shows up in the world and how we can connect the two in our systems. So thinking about the menstrual system, right? It usually lasts about 3 to 7 days, depending on how your body relates to that cycle. And it's really a time that is called upon to be where we can really deeply nourish our bodies and our souls. I like to think about, like really long showers or getting a massage, right? Really a time for us to pause for pleasure. It's that going within, almost like a deeply like hibernating time, right? And in our systems at this point in our cycle, we are really highly intuitive, right? So really aware of everything that's going on around us because our system is really asking us to go within. And so we become really aware. We're not putting as much energy outwards. So we can really sense a lot of what's going on around. It's a time to start to integrate, right? To go within and think about all that's happened throughout the month before, what we aspire to do moving forward, really letting all of those learnings integrate in. It's a really beautiful time to have some alone time, to really be with yourself, to journal, an introspective time, right? And for me, this is the most important space in my month that I really have to practice saying no. I like to say this is the power of no, right? Harnessing the ability to say, this doesn't work for me right now, honoring my energy levels because they're going to be at their lowest point at this point in the month. And so, really allowing yourself, like, if it's not a heck yes, then like it's a no, right? Letting that just be okay. And I think that is a deep learning for us in general, that we don't have to do all the things, right? And to be able to say, maybe it's not right now, maybe it's later, or maybe it's just a no, and letting that be okay. Letting this be a time where we can really start to practice intention setting, right? What is your intention setting for the month ahead? Create a ritual out of this. We like to call this like a new moon ritual. When you see the new moon is on the calendar, create a really beautiful ritual to call out what it is that you're hoping to create in the coming days. What is the intention that you want to set for yourself? And that's really powerful, especially in the first 24 hours of the new moon, because the moon is so energetically powerful. You can really seep up some of the magic that is coming in. And as you're creating your intentions, I want you to think about affirming them in the present tense, saying, I am, or this is, rather than I'm going to, or this is, this is my wish. Bring it inward. Let it be in your body, living it as if, creating it as if, speaking it as if, right? I I am building a beautiful business that I love. I am completely content in my system and in my body. I am confident in my capabilities, right? Really letting that sink in. Beautiful. So as you move from the menstrual phase, we go into the follicular phase, right? And this is really deeply correlated with spring. So if you can think about the cycles, winter, and then we come into spring. And this is the waxing moon. So the moon is starting to get a bit bigger. It's just coming out of the new moon, right? Its darkest phase. And so the follicular phase in our system, it typically lasts about 7 to 10 days. You're going to start to feel, just like you think about the spring, things are starting to bud. You're going to start to feel this little like uprising of energy, right? Thinking about creativity is starting to bloom. There's a deeper desire to start to create and explore. It's almost like you came out of hibernation and you're seeing what's available, right? It's a time that we're more naturally motivated. So it's a really great space to be able to plan or start new projects. Think about things that you're really hoping to create in your business or in your life or in your home, right? Like a organizational time, like start to begin to plan those projects. This is a great time to harness the creativity, right? Because there's a lot of growth and energy that's happening within your system. But then also, if you think about the growing moon, right, the energy of the moon begins to grow. So really harnessing that as coming out of the hibernation and your energy starting to lift. Then we move into the ovulatory phase, right? So it's funny, this is the shortest phase of the month. It's about 3 to 4, or our cycle, 3 to 4 days, but it's the most vibrant, energetic. I want you to correlate it with summertime, right? The sun is shining. We are, wearing our summer dresses. We're out in the world, right? We feel the sun on our skin. Really start to think about that, like that ovulatory phase. And it's no surprise that this is when women that are at that space of life when they're trying to have babies, that this is the phase that is actually happening. So even if we've moved beyond that or we're not even there yet, thinking about what that's actually doing in our system, right? It's really a great time to put yourself out there. And I want you to correlate that with like the full moon, like showing up in your biggest glory, right? There's so much light happening. Go out on a date if you're single. Take your spouse out on a date if you're together, right? Like start to harness the power of that energy. It's a great time to do speaking gigs, right? If you want to get up in front of an audience or a group of women or whatever it is that's your passion, this is a really great time to go ask your boss for a raise, right? Really letting that shine, because not only do we feel it inside, other people feel it. There's this instant like, what's going on with her? There's this pull, almost an attraction towards, right? So this is a great time. Those projects that you plan in the follicular phase, like dive into those projects. Create from a space of real energetic overflow, right? Because your energy is at an all-time high. This is also a really great time. Those intentions that we were setting in the new moon, this is a great time to practice like manifestation and gratitude practices. We're going to deepen into a really beautiful practice in just a bit. So I want you to come back to that, to think about in this ovulatory full moon phase. This is a really beautiful practice to really accelerate any type of manifestation of what you want to create in your life. So come back to that. This is a great time that, to have difficult conversations, things that we may have been putting off when we didn't feel as confident or ready. This is a really great time to harness that. There's a lot more optimism and confidence in our system at this time. So really think of this as a time to play, to explore, to harness all of the abundant energy that is within and around us. Then we start to move into the final phase that we call the Ludial Phase. And this is about a 10 to 16 day, the longest part of the cycle period. And this is what we correlate with fall. This also might correlate with what you would consider in our lives the premenstrual phase, right? As we're preparing to go into sort of the new moon darkness menstrual phase of our cycle. This is when we're starting to release hormones naturally that calm and relax us. So think about, you just start to feel all of a sudden in the month, you start to feel this fatigue come on, right? You're just wanting to relax a lot more. Your energy is starting to decrease. Notice this, let that just be part of the phase, right? And be able to allow your system to go down, begin to downturn so that you can rest, so that you're rejuvenated for the spring and summer cycles, right? This is when you've got a need for order and clarity. I like to correlate this in my mind with sort of like nesting, when all of a sudden things that were okay in your home before, now you need to tidy them up, right? It's like you're preparing for that phase of your cycle that you're going to have a lot more decrease of energy. So utilize that now. Start to tidy up. Order groceries from online, have them delivered. Like really start to look at your month as a way that you can schedule and pace yourself for activities and things that need to come in, right? This is a really beautiful time to meditate, for inner reflection, just to really stay on track, because it also correlates with a decrease in testosterone. So our confidence levels, our assurance levels feel a little bit more on edge, right? We're just not as confident as we had been in earlier parts of the month. So really start to stay inward and start to stay on track that way by really connecting within. Really allow yourself to begin to slow down as you do prepare for this upcoming cycle. And again, think of correlating it as moving from fall to winter, right? What is it that we need to do to be able to prepare for this upcoming month, right? This or upcoming cycle, the part of the month, and really look at it as a time to release, organize, clear out, and prepare. And so, as you start to harness the realization of this, right? The realization of how, as a female, we are so unique and beautiful in our essence. How can we start to harness the different parts of the month for our greatest good? How can we start to schedule in girls' night out in either that follicular or ovulatory phase, right? If we're single, really think about scheduling our dates for that. If we're really wanting to, anything that you're wanting to put yourself out there, spend your energy there. And then as you begin to feel the energy start to decrease, honor that, let that be okay, and let yourself and your schedule really begin to coordinate and correlate with that. I also want to mention, if you're at a phase in life where your cycle has ended, that this is still very relevant. And in a way that you can correlate versus like following your menstrual cycle is following the moon, and really noticing, start to recognize and get curious about, like, okay, is it the new moon? Maybe that's why I'm starting to feel a little bit more tired. And then as the full moon starts to come, really feeling that uptick and that upshift, and starting to honor your cycle there, because we still have that essence within us that we are those cyclical beings, right? And I really think that for me, this helped me start to honor, even in my marriage, how my husband and I are so different energetically, how he can feel that same uptick every day or downtick wherever he is, and then be able to really see where I'm at and be able to see that with clear eyes so that I can honor my space in life. And as having a mom of two daughters, this is definitely something that I plan to teach them as they start to grow and evolve. So keep this for yourself. This is a really useful bit of information. Grab the resource, check it out, share it, and really start to shift the way in which we observe and just look at what we are as females in this world, like the essence of our beings. That would be my wish for you. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, let me know how this is resonating with you. If you want more information on the resource that I provided, there are a lot of other resources that you can look at, books, websites, different apps that you can have on your phone to help you track your cycle. I find that really, really helpful for myself. And so as we were speaking about thinking about those different rituals that we can start to implement into our lives, specifically, I want to share a really beautiful manifestation practice with you today, a way in which you can start to call in all the goodness that has arisen throughout this last week, right? Really start to own that as your own. And I first want to talk just a little bit about the divine laws of the universe. There are so many, but I really want to kind of pinpoint on a few to start to bring your awareness to those. The divine laws are an assumed or an understood law of order in the universe, and the way that we are co-creating and communicating with the universe that's greater than us and with one another. And so just a few to start to orient you to this practice is the divine law of oneness, right? This states that we are all created or connected through creation. I think if at any time in life we have felt this, it has been in the last year of 2020 and moving into 2021, how the pandemic and the coronavirus and how everything has affected the world. We are all connected in this state. And so noticing that beyond this point in life, right? Noticing that anything that is happening or I'm putting out energetically in the world, it is creating a ripple effect beyond. So the divine law of oneness, right? And then the law of vibration, right? Noticing that everything in the universe has a frequency or a vibration. We were talking about the themes of consciousness and how living in that space can create a life of that, how we can rise our frequency, call in that space so that we can begin to raise our vibration and then attract more of that into our life. And that moves us into the final one that I want to bring to you today is the law of attraction, which will take us into our manifestation practice. And if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure many of you have, but the law of attraction is simply stating that it is the law of vibration and action, right? That the vibration that we are putting out, we attract back to us. Turning our dreams, right? Our visions, what it is that we're hoping to manifest and bring into our lives more into reality. That we are conscious and aware of the vibration and the energy that we are putting outward that is bringing back to us what we have created in our lives. And Oprah had a really beautiful quote. She said, "You can control a lot by your thoughts, and we control a lot by our joined thoughts." Again, right? That law, the law of divine oneness. But what I and we believe, by what we believe, right? So thinking about like what it is that we believe that begins to come into reality. And she stated, when I started to figure out that for myself, I became careful of what I thought and what I asked for, right? It was like, what else can I do? What else can I manifest? Because I've seen this stuff work and I've seen it happen over and over again, right? It's the idea of our thoughts create our reality, right? Coming back to the awareness of that. So, what is manifestation? Exactly, right? That might be a question that's coming to mind. And essentially, manifestation is bringing something tangible, right, that we can see, feel, hear into our lives through attraction or belief, right? I.e., if you think it, it will come, right? And manifestation is really making everything you want to feel and experience a reality in the world around you, using your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs, and your emotions. So, really thinking about how the pictures in our minds, the words that we think, thoughts, right? The way the energetic vibration that we're putting out, how that's beginning to create our reality that is right before us. So, one of my mentors, she taught me this practice and she deemed this called accelerated manifestation. Her name is Alyssa Nobriga. She's a really beautiful soul. And I want to share this practice that she shared with me with you. So we're going to just sit in a comfortable space. And I just want you to start to let the words that I'm speaking come in. There are 10 steps to this practice. You can utilize one, you can utilize all, but really start to consider how this is such a powerful practice to be able to create the reality that you truly desire in your life. So, number one is to really go beyond affirmations, right? Affirmations being statements that we repeat for ourselves out loud or in our minds that bring us into a state of being. Not downgrading or excluding the affirmations are extremely powerful, but when we go just beyond them to share our why something is true, right? Why this is true, why this affirmation is true. It actually makes our subconscious mind find evidence as to why this is true, right? So it's looking for, yes, I'm speaking this truth, but why is it true? For instance, like, where have I trusted life before? If our affirmation is, I trust fully in life, I know that I am being guided. If we ask, like, but why? Where have I trusted life before? Our mind starts to look for the evidence to show us where this truth has actually been extremely evident in our lives before. Oh, I remember when I trusted in life and I was led to this amazing opportunity. Then our system says, right, there's our why. It's true. I believe it's true because it's happened. And now I can affirm this in my system today. Really, really powerful. Number two, a second is to feel it here and now. And this is what we're talking about today, embodiment, right? Letting it in your body now, really living it as if, right? The smells, the feels, the thoughts, like everything that we're seeing, let it be in your body today. Feel it as you're living it. that I am versus I will. I am statements are so powerful. We are actually in our words, when we are speaking I am, we are giving our subconscious mind a cue or a directive to feel exactly what we're telling it. So take for instance, I am nervous. My whole system then believes I am this thing. I am nervous. Or I am worthy. I am confident. I am powerful. I am capable of all that's coming to me. You can start to feel the different shift, that upshift there, right? Really remembering that all things are happening in the present moment. They're not one day away or a month or a year from now, right? They're happening now, bringing your presence and your space back to the now, right? Consider those I am, right? I am finding my way. I am actively collecting my thoughts, right? Really shifting those upward, creating that practice, that ritual in your mind. Good. The third part of this accelerated manifestation practice is being in a space of inspiration versus need. If you think about need, it's very much correlated with want or lack, right? That again, the energy that we send out if we need something is we're grasping or we're holding on. We don't want to let it go. And oftentimes we start to feel that actually pull away from us, right? If you can think about, as all women here, if you can think about maybe there was a guy that you really liked, in elementary or high school that you were so drawn to that you felt like you needed or wanted him. Oftentimes that energy actually pushed the other person away, right? So being in that space of I have everything I need, and then I'm going to move from an inspirational space from that, right? It is that idea of abundance calling in more abundance versus lack attracting lack. I have everything that I need, right? Coming from a space of inspiration, service, and love to be able to see what unfolds for you from that. It's really, really powerful. Number 4 is start to be specific and descriptive. Our minds love specificity in all the descriptive characters that we can give. Remember, like our minds think in those images and pictures. Let that be used for your benefit. Keep seeing yourself there, like visualizing it clearly. What is it that you saw, heard, and felt, right? What is it that you truly wish in your life, and be as descriptive as possible in this. If it is seeing yourself in a space or in a new home, like feel what it feels like to be in that space. Start to hear the sounds, right? Start to feel what the floor feels like on your feet. What is it that you smell? What is it that you feel? What are you wearing? Where are you sitting? How do you walk into a room? How is it that you feel, right? Really bring that practice into life and notice how your confidence starts to build. I like to think about, picturing yourself walking into a room, and what is it that you're wearing? How is it that you're carrying yourself? Start to embody that so that it is already part of who you are, right? Number 5 is, what are your feelings and behaviors, right? And really check in to see if they are in alignment with your values, right? So just thinking about making sure that your values are infused into your vision. Asking, is what I am envisioning, is what I'm dreaming or trying to manifest and create for myself. It's a really good practice is to ask, is this good for me? Is this good for others? And is this good for the world at large? Really checking for ecology, right? Making sure that, if I had a dream that I wanted to run away to Bali, how would that be really good for my children and my husband, right? Really starting to say, like, what can we create? Not to say that we can't all go to Bali, but letting that be part of our vision, right? Really coming into asking yourself, is what I'm feeling and these dreams that I'm manifested, are they aligned with my values, my true values? Number 6 is make sure that it's 50% believable, because if it is not 50% believable, our subconscious mind, it will simply notice and then take it down, almost like a picture that we put up and it said, yeah, no, that's not really believable, right? Our subconscious is always trying to protect us. That is one of its main functions. And so if it feels that we are in a a space of creating something that's either not good for us, not good for others, or not good for the world, and that is something that we truly don't believe that we want in our depths, it will remove those thoughts for our safety. So really check into, is this something that I truly believe in my depths? Really connecting with that. Number 7, this is a big one. These are all big, but I feel like this is one that is so easily overlooked, but so important. Focus on and state what you want versus what you don't want. So I want you to acknowledge, first of all, that our brains are hardwired and conditioned to focus on what we don't want or what we don't have. They are preconditioned to be negative. And so if we can look at that as something that is happening within, bring awareness, accept that as truth, and then recreate and reclaim what is it that we want. Speaking from there, having thoughts of that, catching ourselves when we are in this space of, I don't want, or that is not what I wish, to I want this, or this is what I desire, focusing on what we really, really want. And it helps you to begin to support yourself, to retrain the brain to focus on what you want instead of what you don't, right? If you can consider the thought of, I don't want to eat fast food, focusing on the don't or the negative aspect of an activity or a way of being, versus I want to be healthy and vibrant. Same end goal here, right? But we're focusing on the feeling, the outcome, right? Putting yourself in that as if I want to be healthy and vibrant. Consider another example of, I don't want to drink as much alcohol in my days, in my afternoons, and my evenings. Instead of focusing there, what is it that you're wanting to create? I want to be strong in my body and in my mind and my soul so that I can be the best version of myself possible, right? It's a different, completely different vibration. Think about flipping the negative to the positive. If you find yourself in a negative thought, flip it. Just like a pancake. How can I turn this into a positive statement for myself? Really beautiful. Number 8, acting as if. This is what we're talking about today. And I heard this quote one time. It's really, I love it. It's, why not win at your own fantasy, right? We're all creating stories, visions, ideas in our minds. We're creating them. So as we create, why not let ourselves win, right? Why not let ourselves be the victors in our own minds? Because if we can utilize the power of this, it can be our greatest advantage to be able to see ourselves in that and embody that, live it as if, right? That, when people, you've probably noticed this, when people assume like that something's going to happen and come to fruition in their lives, it works out for them, right? Knowing and owning the truth of that, living as if it has already come into fruition for your life, going back into that space of embodying, right? Calling in the way that we want to move and feel, living that life today versus when XYZ, right? And when we meet this goal out there, live it today, and you'll start to embody that space so that we attract all that's coming to us, the law of attraction. Number 9, surrendered action. So this is the idea of expectation versus trust. Thinking back to those vibrational energies, expectation is correlated also with desire, right? That lack of, I'm expecting something to happen, versus that surrendered action that we move into trust, that I am making the most aligned action for me today. And then I release it. And I trust that any lesson or learning opportunity or growth that I need to experience from that will come. Being in that space of trust, right? Release expectation, get it out of our way so that we can allow all that is coming through to flow inward. And I love this phrase, in that space of when you put out your aligned action, you're trusting in the universe, you can start to feel all that is coming to you. Really drop into this phrase of, this or something better for the highest good of all concerned. This or something better for the highest good of all concerned, right? let it go and see what opens up for you. I often find myself when I'm playing with my children, and I'm in that space of just joy, I'll drop in and I'll say, more of this, please, this and more, this and more, this and more, telling ourselves, like honoring, dropping into that, opening up to the universe that, yes, I love this feeling. I want more of this in my life. Please bring that to me now, right? Surrender that. And the final part of our manifestation practice is the field of infinite possibilities. Thinking about those moments in life when you found yourself in a true flow state. I go back to the example that I just brought. When you're playing with your children outside, you can hear their laughter. You are in such a sense of being exactly where you're meant to be. Drop into that moment, right? Take advantage of that moment where, and from the openness of all of that, like your energy is just open and alive. I want you to practice dropping in an image of all that you desire already being manifested right there and now. Just drop it in and release it. And I want you to think about, in those moments when you're in that state of flow, maybe it's a deep meditation, create the image of all that you desire, right? Create that picture, drop it into your body so that it's as if it's already being lived and manifested in your life in the current moment, right? Drop it in, release, and let that flow, right? The world of quantum physics states that the field of infinite possibilities is a space where anything can happen. Being in that space where you're so connected and in flow, take advantage of that and drop in exactly what it is that you want to create for your life. You have all that you need inside of you, utilizing the power of these tools, utilizing the power of our minds, utilizing the power of our thoughts and our words, creating and manifesting the life that we truly desire. It all starts here, right? Really start to believe and own that for yourself, because it is so deeply true. And I am so excited to see what each of you create, what each of you start to call into your life, living as if it's already here and now, what you're starting to shift for yourself and your families. I am just so honored to be able to bring some of the gifts and tools and learnings that I have been so honored to have been brought to me, to you here today. This has been so much fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I would love to hear from you. I would love to see what's really like landing for you guys and what has shown up. I'm just really so in awe of being able to do this work, to be able to show up in this way, and to be able to serve and be with amazing women just like you. I am going to drop out. This is our last day, but I do want to know there are so many ways that we can continue to work together if you feel called. I've got a beautiful 4-month private coaching container. It's called Grounding into Your Radiance. It's opening up next week. I would love to have you there. I'm actually offering a discount on my regular pricing. Reach out to me. I'm going to connect a link here so that we could reach out and maybe we could schedule a consultation together and talk about what's possible, see what we could create together. If that is not aligned for you, if there's another woman in your life that you feel like this would be a perfect fit, please share. Feel free to share the link here and share this information. I have been so honored to walk the walk with you. I will continue to do so. I am here each step of the way. I'm sending you all so much love, and I can't wait to hear from you soon. My love to you, sisters. Bye-bye.